Guys, listen to me. I have something very important to tell you guys. It's about a superpower all of us have. It's about this weapon all of us can use. Even it's still evolving, but even in its current stage, it can be very useful for us and it can give our voices a proper platform and a push. Do you know what that is?
And this power is called Nota. Not the power of sight as it is in Kannada, but the power of not voting for anybody as it is in the Indian Constitution. I am Sanjay Ponnappa and you're watching India Today So South. Nota or none of the above is a voting option that is used during elections to voice the disapproval of the people towards the candidates that are contesting. It is the right to say no or withhold consent for the representatives and voicing this opinion in the elections. The Nota option is available in many countries like Indonesia, Greece, Spain, Ukraine and many others under different names, and the application of its power is different in each country. This option was also available in countries like Russia and Pakistan, but it was revoked only after a few years of its implementation. The Nota option holds a lot of power in many of these countries. For example, in the Soviet Union, which is now known as Russia, during the elections of 1990, which led to the dissolution of the Soviet Union, this power played such a major role that re-elections were conducted in over 200 constituencies. And later, once the first president of Russia, Boris, was selected, he said the none of the above option actually helped convince people that they had real power even in a rigged election, and it helped build true democracy. And yeah, I got a haircut. And now since that's out of the way, let's talk about Nota in India. None of the above or Nota was introduced in India following the 2013 Supreme Court judgment. Although this has been around in India for a while, almost 2 decades actually, it was only formally introduced in 2013. Nota was used for the first time in the 2013 assembly elections of 5 states: Chhattisgarh, Mizoram, Rajasthan, Delhi and Madhya Pradesh, and later in the 2014 general elections. It does not hold any electoral value. Even if a majority of votes are cast for Nota, the candidate who comes second will be declared the winner. Nota in India does not provide for a right to reject. What the f***?
Control, Uday.
Despite Nota not having any electoral value, this is a very essential tool for the people to voice their opinion and their disconnect with the people contesting in the elections. The Supreme Court observed that it is essential that people of high moral and ethical values are chosen as people's representatives for good governance in the country. The Nota button is very crucial for this aspect as it compels the political parties to nominate sound candidates. It is understandable why people would feel that Nota is useless and a waste of vote. But every single change in this country has happened only after people started voicing it. Through pressing that one button, it gets registered that this candidate is not approved by all the people who are voting. Pressing that button is better and more responsible than pushing the whole thing to a side. To put it in very simple terms, let me give you an example. Take your own house. Your mother has cooked something that you don't like. So if you voice it, you have the option that next time maybe your mother might not cook that, might give you something else. But if you never voice it, your mother will always keep feeding you the same thing. The Nota option is also similar. The number of people turning towards Nota has been gradually increasing. Didn't understand what I said? See this. In the 2017 Gujarat Assembly elections, the total vote share of Nota was lesser only than BJP and Congress. In 118 constituencies, Nota polled the third largest vote share after BJP and Congress. In another example, in the Madhya Pradesh Assembly elections conducted in 2018, the difference between the vote share of candidate from BJP and Congress was just 0.1%, whereas Nota polled a vote share of 1.4%. Now do you understand how much of an impact Nota has? But I am curious. I want to know what the people think and perceive about Nota. So,
yeah, none of the above.
I just heard about it. So I don't think I'll have any comment on it.
Not for the Nota option, then voters will be compelled to choose someone.
Nota is like no way use. So I have to vote either parties. That's what I feel.
No,
I mean, it does encourage people to at least go out and vote. So I think it's not completely useless.
Sometimes you don't like anyone who's standing for the post. And sometimes you don't want to waste the vote as well. So you feel like you vote for Nota, at least you're doing your duty that way.
Then, like considering the Nota option, I'll just go through the candidates list, whoever are coming, so and so. Based on the realistic promises or based on the realistic ideas which he's proposing to develop the nation or the world, based on that I might vote, otherwise Nota is the best option.
Well, the perception about Nota is just as scattered as anything else that is related to politics in India. But there are numbers of changes and these numbers speak volumes. This video doesn't promote the Nota option but only gives you the knowledge that you always have the option, a third option if not the first two. If you don't like one person, if you don't like the other person, you don't just skip your elections. You always practice your responsibility. You always practice your right. Go vote. But if you don't like anybody, you always have the last option, which is the none of the above. I am Sanjay Ponnappa and you're watching India Today So South.